Hi.
Hello, and welcome to Doom Eternal 100% Ultra Nightmare Tutorial with
Wow.
3 bozos who spend too much time in this game.
Wow.
I'm Raitro,
I'm Moot D6.
I'm DrakePHOSE.
and today, we will be covering Doom Hunter base through Art Complex. It's only 3 levels, however, I think every 100% runner will tell you that Super Cornus and Art Complex are a couple of the most complex, Hey, that's a pun, actually. I wasn't thinking that Arc was the most complex level.
Ha
Oh!
ha ha ha. Even when you're
That's-
not trying.
That's actually freaking hilarious.
Wow.
Before we get started on Doom Hunter base, Mute, Drake, you guys got any notes from previous tutorials want to bring up real quick?
I guess we could summarize.
Yeah.
So we covered Hell on Earth. We covered Hell on Earth, Exaltia, and Cultist base last time. And right now we're entering with only Meat Hook ready to be mastered. We're going to be entering Doom Hunter base with Meat Hook ready to be mastered. Doom Hunter base is a pretty simple level in terms of upgrades. We only upgrade something at the end, and we get a few Meat Hook techs here and there. So the effects of the routing aren't felt yet. Once we get to Art Complex and actually once we get to Art Complex, that's maybe even Mars Core is when we're starting to feel the routing.
Yep.
Other than that, I think Mute. Oh, I should ask this before. Did you set up a save with Armor for Blood or Loot Magnet fully set up, or because last time I think we bungled it and we upgraded one.
So yeah, this one's okay. This one's good.
Okay. All right. That is it.
All right.
Okay, cool. Let's get into it.
Doom Hunter base loading in. This is gonna be the start of Doom Hunter base in on the train. And this is how you would usually do it. That ice bomb is unnecessary.
Yeah, it's very unnecessary.
Everything's dead.
Ice Bomb is kind of just for safety because that Mank has the habit of sniping you, but basically what you want to do is kill all the fodder, chainsaw the Mancubus, and as soon as everything's dead, there'll be like a 5-second countdown until you can break the chain at
2,
the end and
3.
end the fight.
Chainsaw.
It's 3.5 to 4.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
when you're chainsawing
Thanks
this
for
Mank,
correcting.
3 things are gonna happen. One is this guy's gonna run over, this guy's gonna run over, and also die to the Mank explosion. Yes, that does damage, and also that guy's gonna jump over here and be here. So if I just let things happen, 1, 2, 3. This guy didn't run over, which is weird. He jumped back, but you guys saw what happened. Here.
Basically, the chainsaw there is not just for ammo; it also clears a fodder. There are some optimizations here. There's like a tiny optimizations here. You can get some collats earlier on. We cover them in the any percent tutorial, any percent restricted tutorial. The most optimal way to do this fight. But this fight's also like, but those are like small optimizations you have to worry about.
You see me
1,
not
2,
jumping at the
3.
beginning.
Yeah,
That's
also
important.
another important thing. The longer
Yeah.
you're on the ground, the more likely enemies are to track you.
Which is
Whereas if you're in the air, they're
That's-
less likely to track you.
That's such a fun fact. I always jump at the beginning of this fight.
That's why Mute ice bombs, because he just got
Yeah.
no target, and then yeah.
Oh, and also for a note for as we just finished this out, for anybody who's watching us live, we will be keeping an eye on the chat. So if you have any questions or something's not quite explained as clear, just let us know and go over.
So if you do the latest route of this, you can break the chain at 12.5 seconds at fastest, but that's not likely. You're most likely to get a high 13, and basically once the moment the final fodder dies, the final enemy dies, you count 0, 1, 2, 3.5, and then dash forward, dash backwards while standing beside the button. Or you could do what Mute does and just on reaction, so that you have this bug, which is kind of funny. Paisano with many questions.
I mean, if you want something even wonky, if you're using dot crosshair, you don't get this little
Yeah.
HUD thing.
So here you can actually do a punch boost up the.
if this guy jumps
Here?
down, I'll hear, but oh, I'll try it. There.
Yeah.
There.
Wow.
The weird thing about this punch boost is that I believe on this patch, you have to be at lower frame rate for that guy to consistently jump down, or you can just do that hook jump, which is slower but easier. So if you're on PC, you might want to lower your frame rate to 120, because as you're entering the station before the imp spawn, because otherwise they might not jump down. And then to guarantee that the imp stays in place, you can double jump hook to freeze them momentarily, and then punch.
Yeah,
Thanks to
after-
Pro for that discovery. Here we pick
Pick
up
up
remote
remote-
dead and walk on canceling.
I have infinite ammo.
Yeah,
on.
you'll be using it
What? Oh.
basically immediately after this.
You gotta love it when you up patch and turn these tutorials on. Don't die, don't die.
Oh, yeah, there's health here if you need it.
Yeah.
Wait, did I get the right thing? Did I? Oh, I did get a
Yeah,
remote
you
dead.
did.
Nice.
You got
nice.
remote dead.
Yeah, charge
Alright,
Heat Blast here.
first big fight of this level.
You need to kill
This
3
fight's also
here.
covered in a lot of detail in the any percent tutorial, but the simple thing is you want to go 3 fodder, 1 pinky. You want to nade the rev, heat blast here, lock on the rev, and then you want to kill the spider. Now it's pretty simple. It is as simple as it looks. And at the end here, there are some like minor details here. You can go after the snake first, or you can go after the fodder. It really is up to preference. Now there is a little bit of a routing detail here. A lot of runners, a lot of runners can elect not to chainsaw that snake. I think it might be better to chainsaw the snake, but it's a minor routing detail that you can take a look at in the route doc for differences. Basically, you're chainsawing some different things if you don't chainsaw here.
Usually you would have Heat Blast ready, so just kill things in the air.
One note, if you're playing on more current patches, patch 2 and onwards,
Yeah. You're gonna
this
have an extra wave.
fight routing is slightly different. There is an extra Arachnotron, and there's also an extra wave in here.
Yeah.
Be too complicated to explain without, showing you it. So in the description, look down below. There's a fight route of me, MMA, or some other more current patch runner doing.
And in that case, you probably would want to definitely chainsaw in this fight, just because you're you wouldn't have rockets otherwise.
Oh yeah, you want to chainsaw between one of the waves.
Yeah.
Again, just look at the fight.
Yeah. But if you're on 1.1, then there is the more optimal ways to chainsaw the final snake here, but
Oops.
that's a matter of preference, because it makes chainsawing the snake here is very cheap in that, or rather, it might cause some safety issues with a later mank, because the mank we go kill later, it's very safe to chainsaw it.
Oh yeah, chainsawing that mank is, how do I put it?
It's pretty nice. Although I think you have ice bomb there, so it's not that big of a deal. But like, you know what happens with ice bomb sometimes? They'll just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna ground pound anyway," and
Nope.
idiot.
You'll just take an attack when they're fully frozen. Great program game, by the way.
I think we can move on. Maybe you want to do it one
Yeah.
more time.
Just go through it. Yeah, the most.
Again, if you want
important
more details on like the specifics, then you would probably look at Raitro's route for later patches and the any percent tutorial. But this is like a very consistent and very safe route.
Oh, one thing.
You
to
could
note-
use lock on canceling, but again, we covered that in the 80% tutorial.
One thing to note: a lot of the locations where Mute is going is pretty specific, and you should probably follow a very similar routing.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make sure to pick up a chainsaw fuel and the shotgun ammo right next to it, because you will run out of shotgun ammo later in the fight if you don't grab it immediately.
And he also goes there to pick up that ammo, that ammo here. Like, you notice that, like, in the any percent tutorial, I just stayed by the door, but of course we have to pick up the secret. And because he doesn't chainsaw in this fight, he also needs to pick up this ammo here as well.
But if you have 18 PB shots and up, you do not. If you have 18 right here, you do not have to pick up these.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that ammo was there. I'm gonna pick that up in all my runs now. This is the
So
best.
we should probably
where you-
mention, you don't have to go down into the hole. You just need to break the grate.
Oh, yeah,
and
you
go
just
back,
dip your
because
toes
that's
in
not
it.
quite clear.
Yeah, it's one of the best things where you're just like, oh wait, they just opened the wall after you hit it. Oh, here's a fade-in boost.
Yeah, very simple fade and boost.
Yep.
One of the
Quote,
easiest
unquote,
ones because there's no
simple.
space constraints. Here's gonna do a dash storage.
Hey Mute, why don't you
missed
get a
it.
wall dash before that?
You can.
You can. So for the dash
You just do
storage,
that.
we all know how to do it. But if you guys want to do a dash storage here, you can also do that.
Yeah,
But it's
and
not necessary. If you fail it, like I did, here's another wall dash.
it's technically half a second faster. How freaking dare you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, everything's there
Normally
would
there's
usually be a
pinky and some
pinky
solder that spawns in here.
that you could hook
Yeah,
on.
you skip the trigger. If you fail the dash storage, you shouldn't go towards the coffin. You should go towards like you should actually mantle up. There's some details, they're not important. Basically, you can spawn a pinky and you can hook.
Should I
So
go
here,
back
this
and
is the
demonstrate
first
it?
important detail.
Wait.
Oh,
What?
very quickly before we continue.
Oh yeah.
Getting some feedback from chat saying that our volume's a bit low. Mute, can you heighten us on your end?
Okay.
Hello.
Oh my.
Oh, what?
Very loud.
I swear I won't be that loud.
Ariguchi. Yes, right here. Otherwise, we hook on that guy.
So here you actually want to lower your FPS as you enter into this fight.
This is the reason why you
right
need
about-
18 earlier.
Yeah.
Yep, killing that carcass, making sure to grenade to get this challenge. If
Yeah.
you missed that, there are a few backup spots later. We'll go over them when we get them.
Oops.
If you fail this, there's an ERJ backup if you fail to get up there with the hook. But the ERJ is it's a little tricky. Just hook jump instead. Take your time. You can always like hook jump up before you finish the last fodder.
Yeah, one thing to note, if you can't get frame rate limiting software without working, or you just
You miss
Get
it, you
that one
forget
rev.
it. You can do a backup here. You can drop down and do the screw micro missile skip.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
So
or
if let's say you fail and you're waiting for the revenant to spawn. Okay, we should actually explain. So if you come in here with higher than like 100 FPS, we're done. Then the revenant on the left will sometimes fail to spawn, and it will just fly out of bounds, and it will take like 20 seconds for it to die.
Over 20.
Yeah.
We don't quite understand why. It might even spawn in another location. We don't get it. But basically, you'll just be sitting here waiting for the door to open. So instead, you can drop down. Drop down and do screw micro missile. On the right.
Beep, beep, beep,
You
beep,
don't,
beep.
you don't know this move?
I don't have
Yeah, just go
micro
back.
missiles.
Just,
dash boost you do in any percent?
just
Wait,
do a
what?
skip. You do
Oh,
80%.
Yeah, you go down. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
You
over
just
here.
drop down here.
Yeah,
and then-
you can do a dash boost to hit a death plane, and you're on the other side of the door.
and then you go back
Yeah.
and grab the codex and yeah. that's
Quick
your
note,
backup.
you don't need to do that if you want to just suck it up and take like the 10-second time loss or more from the Revenant not spawning in. You can just wait up on the rafters, waiting for the door to open, and that's perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
again, it's like 10-second time loss.
All right, now you,
Okay.
you get savagery.
We won't be doing many glory kills. However, there are a few required glory kills, and this just makes them all faster.
Yeah. In
Oh.
this category, getting savagery saves like 5 seconds,
It's it's from each Doom Hunter boss as well. So,
and the buff totems.
yeah, so that's like I want to say that's on the order of 10.
Well, buff totems it saves I believe half a second. So
Yep.
here's where our chainsaw is really nice because like that mech can be kind of spooky.
The important part is to send that PB rocket towards the carcass before you get the chainsaw.
And you want to do it as early as possible, otherwise there's a chance the carcass puts a shield up. So as soon as the carcass spawns, you want to go after it.
This is a backup spot for getting the grenade mastery as well. You can get it on the mechas or the 2 soldiers and imps in the room with the helmet.
Yeah.
Whenever
At some frame rates, at lower frame rates, lower frame rates, those soldiers and imps here will actually just group up, but at some other frame rates they won't. Ideally, you get this finished off beforehand. There's another spot before the Lazarus Generators double Revenant fight where you can get them, in that pinky hallway, but we don't need to go through it. So now you just go through here.
Laser
and here
floor.
is a totally not scary arena ever. When you're starting out, this arena is actually kind of killer.
Yeah, when you're starting out, this arena is kind of spooky, but yeah, freely use Ice Bomb. Just this cute little note about this fight. those floor traps you see right there, they actually do deal damage to enemies. So
Yep.
in all combat encounters, we just skip this fight, and then the floor traps kill half the enemies. And then we come back, and it's like much easier. But in this category, we can't skip this. We can't. We have to watch the cutscene, otherwise we can't get some collectibles. So that's why he's doing this fight, even though he could technically skip it.
Yeah, the general order of operations you want to do this is Mank. There's a carcass that spawns in right where the Mank is typically at, and then you want to focus the Revenants, and then hopefully the other carcass kills itself on a floor trap, but if not, you just got to finish that off too.
For the weak point, so he kind of just dies sitting there.
Yeah, that soldier actually died right before Mute shot him too. Like,
Sometimes you can just get really lucky and like not have to kill much in this fight. It's great when it happens.
yeah. So upcoming is like, in my opinion, one of the worst dash boosts in the game, but
Oh yeah.
it's quite nice. It saves a little bit of time because you don't have to wait for this. It's off one of those floor traps that deactivates. I don't know. Do you have a lineup, or do you just kind of straighten yourself out in front of it? And
I
then
just line up
dash?
right here on this thing. Looks
Yeah.
straightforward, and sometimes
It's
it works.
not too precise. You just got to be a consistent. You got to be in a good enough range, not in a.
Yeah, it's
precise
like
setup.
it's kind of a pain. Like, see, like even when you set it up, it can be kind of inconsistent. Although if you don't get that much height, you can just scroll it to maybe Zai boost it if you're really worried about it. But yeah, you can move on.
A
It's not
tip
that
is to angle yourself just a little bit away. Why it's not working?
Ha-
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it never works. I've studied that floor trap dash boost so much. I hate it. But you can do a little movement skip there. It's actually like that's actually, believe it or not, a skip. Right, what he just did there to
That-
get
Yep.
there.
That's how I did it casually. So
Yeah,
because
'cause
climbing
you're not
around
supposed
is
to. You're not supposed to get there like you're not supposed to get to that wall until like after, which is weird.
route. You just jump down, pick up the Sprayer suit token, and then we're gonna get to the first like big movement skip of the run.
Wow.
This skip actually only saves 7 seconds, by the way. This big skip that he's going right here, it actually only saves 7 seconds, so you don't have to worry about it. And the primary time save is in the fact that we're skipping some we're skipping some uncomfortable movement later, which I'll show off. We'll show off rather.
Yeah. The biggest thing to note is to make sure that you hit the ramp at the end, like you hit it like nearly. How do I
You
say?
can also hit the ramp. All right, do you want to show the older way we used to do
Oh,
this?
whoops.
Mute?
Yeah. I'll show it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where we bounced off the ramp that's close to us here.
Oh, you
This
mean
is
the
also
not so
fine.
old one? This is the super old one.
Yeah, that ramp. Right. Not the Kako version. The Kako version is too old, but
Too old.
just the ramp, just going off that ramp,
Yeah, yeah.
because like when you're flying that fast, like it might be hard to hit that ramp in the back, but the ramp that's close here, it's very easy. You just bounce off of that.
And this is slower
There you
because
go.
you fall. And that's slower.
Yeah, but it's a little easier.
Yeah.
Should we go over? Well, should we?
Oh,
go
and I have an
over-
input
well, I guess we
display.
let's.
I
Oh,
should-
and a little tip here that I mentioned earlier. So remember back at the beginning when I mentioned that chainsawing route that could get awkward? Well, here you can actually pick up fuel before this hook. You can actually pick up fuel before this hook. And that will allow you to chainsaw a Hell Knight in one of the fights upcoming. So that fuel that's right beside that imp, you just dash to it, and then you would pick up that, and
Yeah,
then
with
you would
the-
chainsaw Hell Knight.
Yeah, with that yeet hook that Mute just did, the quote-unquote optimal version, you want to try to hit the incline, like you want to hit the slope basically perpendicular to the incline so that you're going almost horizontal, just so that you don't gain extra height.
Yeah.
If it's a bit too hard for you, feel free to go more along the incline so that you can, get it more consistently.
There's also a mantle skip here. I don't think we need to go into too much detail.
Just scroll while you're mantling there.
Yeah, just dash into the top of the ramp. So here, the second half of the skip, you activate the cutscene. It's very important. Don't forget to activate the cutscene. Otherwise, you're not saving time using the skip. And then you
Yeah.
just come back. And you pick
Uh,
up quick draw belch.
Yeah. One
And so
thing
that's
to
actually
note-
the time save there. It's because you activate the cutscene from this side, which is much faster than doing it the way we did before.
yeah.
Here, another mantle skip.
We should probably do the route without that big
Yeah,
yeet
well,
hook
we
as well.
can
We
do it
can
at
do
the
that
end.
like after.
Yeah,
before
we
the
can do it
boss
at the
fight or
end. Let's just show
something.
what happens here, what we're skipping. So now here, if you've done everything really fast, then the meatball will be right where he aimed, but he wasn't, and then you can hook off them and then.
Yeah,
just
there
through
is
his door.
there is a wall bash variant you can do without the hooking off the Kako too if you don't see him.
Yeah.
But basically just wall bash right at the end when you're about to jump the gap. Just meat hook around, hook up, get this.
This is
crater
all
token.
like what you see is what you get. You would do this no matter which route you do. And then bang, grab some rockets. So right here, after you kill these dudes, you would chainsaw this Hell Knight if you did the more modern chainsaw route, but that's fine too. You can also nade and PB that prowler if you want to be a little faster, but it does compromise on a sticky tick or on a meat hook tick. Excuse me.
Oh, backup time. On that Hell Knight arena where you have the 2 soldiers in the Hell Knight, if you do not have Blood Punch, get a glory kill off the soldiers. That's probably the best place to farm it before Blood Punch, before the boss fight. You will need Blood Punch.
Yeah, you will want Blood Punch. So here, right here, now that he's out the outer boss door, which is what we call this area, you'll notice that like he doesn't have to go do this giant puzzle to go grab to go activate the cutscene. If you want to go back there, Mute, just so we can show off what we're skipping. If you don't do the yeet hook, you can do a dash boost. Do you know the dash boost, Mute?
Which one?
Oh, dash boost. That is so old strats. I'm getting
Yeah,
nostalgic.
it is all strats. This is what Ace actually used to do because we didn't need to. Actually, it's what Ace still does.
Wait, Ultra?
But yeah, no, it doesn't matter. But basically, you just go through
this
this
one.
area.
Yeah.
In that corner. Not that one. Doesn't matter. You can just do it as intended. Yeah. It's not that one, you don't worry about it. It would be hard for me to show you.
There is a dash boost.
There is a dash boost. It's probably in the strat doc somewhere. Just search outer boss door dash boost.
Okay. One thing to note when we come into this, there's a switch that we normally have to shoot. However, we can shoot it from behind, and then we do various wall bashes, just getting to the collectibles quicker.
And the rest of
Alright.
this is pretty
Can
covered. I think I cover the Doom Hunter boss in the any percent restricted tutorial, but I kind of gloss over a lot of safety strats. So Mute's probably going to do a much safer strat than I would.
Mute, could you fly back to where you do the super yeet? Just want to visually show the alternatives.
What you would do
where
without the
don't- Yeah, because you do a separate yeet hook here. If
Yeah, you would do a hook straight to the crystal as opposed to the end.
You gotta
And the
go
important thing
around.
here is that there's an invisible wall. You want to go a little wide because if you don't, the invisible wall is like right where he's looking at.
Yep.
yeah, so you hook to the right of the right off the imp, and basically the key thing you're aiming for is that corner. If you go right for the corner, and then you get the sentinel crystal, and then you continue on the route exactly the same. And then when you get back to the other area that we hooked to with the optimal route, you pick up that Praetor token and grab the cutscene while you're there. And then you're back in, we sync up to the boss fight. Oh, this boss fight.
Boss fight is spooky, but this is one of those examples where if you're fast, it's safe, but if you're slow, it's safe, but if you're medium, it's very unsafe.
Yeah.
Like,
Notice real quick, Heat Blast to stun the Doom Hunter, Grenade to stun the Doom Hunter, Blood Punch to stun the Doom Hunter, and then when you're PB and SSGing it during the while, you just get it out of the first phase, and then Chainsaw, then you just lock this thing on to death. SSG PB it if you know you are, if you don't have enough rocket.
another
get
recommendation
stuck
to do
there?
is if you're coming, I don't know what your route is in terms of rockets here, Mute, but if you're coming into this fight with a few less rockets, or with more rockets, what you can do instead of chainsawing a fodder, you can go pick up some rockets on the floor. And that's a little safer because you don't have to be surrounded by enemies. You can pick up the rockets there. That's what we do in 80%.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the command?
But that just depends on your...
Auto full charge?
What's the
Something
command
auto full
for...
charge.
I wouldn't worry about it. I'd have to
Alright.
find it. But, I mean, I can look it up for you.
It's something auto full charge. Okay, but
The general premise is just keep the Doom boss faltered with Heat Blast, Grenade, and Blood Punch, and if you do this optimally, it shouldn't even get a hit in by the time you get it out of first phase.
This is something you really want to practice. And I wouldn't recommend going for it unless you're like really, really comfortable. Otherwise, you will die. Like, we're talking, this is like, you either nail this perfectly or you don't even attempt it.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Let
Armor,
could
by the
you
way, right
Can you
here.
simulate, say, you didn't get the combo, what would you do if you don't have any stun from the Doom Hunter?
Me personally, I just die and reset. But if you want to be safe, there are
PB
rockets
rocket?
here. PB rocket, lock on burst. You have rocket. There is armor here and here. There's also chainsaw, health everywhere, little bits of armor, and PBSSG from afar also works since you don't have ballista. But just, you know, try to stay a distance if you want to keep going.
If you want a hyper safe strat that we can recommend, just multi-blast his shield off and then lock on burst from a distance instead of going for his sled.
Yeah.
So multi-blast his shield, break his shield, and then kill him like intended, just slightly faster with lock on burst.
Yeah, a good alternative also is just like, say, if he still has a slither of health because you failed the stuns, but he's still like, how do I put it, like lowish health. I would just say PB rocket him from a distance. Then just get a chainsaw during his phase transition.
Oh no, I failed a combo. What will it
Also,
do?
a tip with this dude is that if you want to punch and attack the back of his sled because the hitbox is a little bigger.
Oh, did we ever mention just like general survivability in this category? One good strat to use is just if you're scared you're going to die, just find the nearest spotter, flame belch, and chainsaw it.
Yeah.
Like
the invulnerability you really have is incredible. So yeah, like whenever you're doing this combo, make sure you're trying to shoot him in the butt of the sled as much as possible.
Also, stay in the air. You live
Also,
that
a
way.
cute little tip: if you're wondering like why he's heat blasting at the beginning and not the end, it's actually about as fast to do either or, but it's safer to do the heat blast at the beginning.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, if you heat blast or like do a hard stagger attack like a nade or a heat blast or something like that at while the Doom Hunter's breaking off the sled, he breaks off the sled faster. And Mute can actually demonstrate this if he drops a nade on him like after he starts taking off the sled, it'll pop him off the sled much faster. The reason we don't do it in this phase is because the priest will play a dialogue box.
Oh yeah, this one. Useless machine attack.
Or he will skip a dialogue box and only play it at the end. And while the dialogue box is playing, the door that leads to the second phase won't open. So that's why we're not breaking him off his sled earlier, even though we could, because we actually like lose that time immediately back.
Yeah. So I think we talked this phase to death. Mute when just finish it up for good, and then we get on to the actual hard part of this fight.
Yeah.
Once you, how do I put it? This fight is consistent if you do all the strats. However, the second fight, there's a lot to go wrong all the time.
The second fight, the first hunter is actually very easy, but the second hunter is like absolutely horrifying. Like it is where runs die. It is a run killer. So this one's actually quite nice. You just even if you want to be safe, you can still be fast. Whereas in the second fight, it's very, very spooky. So here he upgrades, and you can actually upgrade grenade right after you shoot your first grenade, and that will recharge your second grenade. But here's an example of how easy the first phase is. Very, very easy. Very safe. But now the second phase is very spooky, and you actually want to charge Heat Blast right after you kill this guy, just for safety.
And there's also sometimes where the Doom Hunter just doesn't, falter from the Heat Blast. That just happens.
As you can see, this is quite spooky. There's like a billion trillion things around you, very angrily attacking you. So, yeah.
Yeah. One thing to note, an alternate safety strat you can do is something I like doing just because it's very consistent, is you actually don't need to grenade or blood punch this Doom Hunter at all.
The first one.
Yeah, you can
stun lock him without those things.
Yeah.
You can just stun lock him by SSG PBing him, and then you can keep all your stuns for the second Doom Hunter, which just makes it a lot more consistent because it will be a scarier thing.
I'd actually what I do, not even for safety because I don't play Ultra Nightmare. What I do is I throw an ice bomb around me as I'm locking on the second Doom Hunter, just so no carcass Beyblades me and doesn't do any garbage, like, etc.
Another safety thing to notice, if you think this fight is a bit too hard after you practice it, it's actually easier if you get out of both hunters out of sled and then kill them both when they're both in
Yes.
second phase.
Oh yeah, I should show
'Cause,
that off.
yeah, the second phase, how do you put it? Additional enemies spawn in as soon as one of the Doom Hunters is dead.
Yeah.
So if you delay that death as much as possible, you'll have less time in the phase when there's additional
Yeah.
enemies in.
That's actually what everybody used to do. But like a long
That's
time
what
ago,
top
but
runners
now-
still do.
a few top runners still do it, but like but it is a little bit slower. Just
Yeah,
because you
you-
have to wait for the
You would not use
people
blood punch
hunting the
here.
Doom Hunters.
And there you are. You would use.
Yeah, the reason it's slower is just because you're not even you're sacrificing a blood punch, which is a significant amount of damage.
Oh yeah. Oh, the other route. I should show that off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is technically the safer route. It's just Mute's so gamer that they only know the hard route.
Mhm. And then you would go back to the first Doom Hunter, which where the heck? Oh,
Yeah,
And
this
again,
is
don't be afraid to just like chainsaw, even glory kill, because this fight is the most dangerous in
Yeah.
probably the entire run.
to use 3 spots where you can grab rockets: here, here, and here. You only need one of those, one of the 3, so it's pretty much on the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
because a Doom Hunter dies in 2 lock-on bursts, but you don't have enough ammo for 2, so pick up one of those ammo pickups during
The
this
first
fight.
phase dies in 3, second phase dies in 2, and then normal Doom Hunters die in 3.1-ish. So yeah, we'd recommend take your time with this fight. This is we mentioned a few times. This is an example of a fight where either you go blazingly fast or you go really slow. If you go anything in between, you're gonna die. If you hesitate or like get kind of close, you're gonna get blown to bits. So it is quite scary.
And this is where the glory kill rune comes in effect, because these glory kill animations are faster.
Yeah, they're 1.4 seconds faster per each, so you're saving. Yeah.
So
saving
just 3
several
times
seconds
save.
just on that. Yeah. It's enough of a time save that in any percent reloads we actually get through. So yeah. And it's free in this category, so you might as well get it.
Yep.
Well, I'll show this up one more time.
Yeah. And again, we recommend practicing this fight considerably. If you want to be super safe, I think the reason why Mute is spending a nade on the first one here is for speed, not because it's actually safer.
Yeah.
Rather consistency.
So I guess we probably briefly touched on this in the routing one, but one of the best ways to practice these fights is actually just to throw your head against it like 20 times in a row or some obscene number, basically until you feel you got it down. And
Yeah.
then after that, it's after you do that with like all these fights or boss fights, the next thing is doing that in a whole level, and then once you feel comfortable level, moving on to the next one, and then after that, do runs like that.
Yeah. And this is where cheats really help you. Like, cheats help you a lot with this fight because you can, or with the 2 fights, especially the first phase, because you can teleport to the boss immediately, you can set up the correct upgrades, etc., etc. And because the first phase, when you start the first phase, it puts you in a different position than you would or when you reload checkpoint on the first phase, it puts you in a different position.
Oh.
And when you reload checkpoint on the second phase, you don't have heat blast, so it's nice to have the command that refills your heat blast.
Also,
So-
Mute, feel free to finish this fight.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you can carry on. We still gotta get through Arc Complex.
That's true.
If
I won't die,
we're
you-
spending this much time on Doom Hunter base and a 7 to 8 minute level. Art Complex is
Arc Complex is.
it's
That's
not
all I
Arc
have to say
simple
about Art
for a
Complex.
reason.
Arc Complex is another level where it's an example. Oh, we'll get to it when we get to Arc Complex.
Yeah,
But
let's
yeah, chat, if you have any questions about this fight, again, yeah, just like you, make sure you learn to use all your tools at your disposal.
Your
Yeah,
upgrade,
like the pop-up in the menu before you start every run of this game.
upgrade
So
precision
here we
bolt.
upgrade Precision Bolt, and then we do
Oh.
Ramp Dash.
Oh, I want to talk. Mute, could you do me a favor and open your suit token menu real quick? One thing to note, suit token routing does start to vary at this point, depending on which route you take. On current patches, actually, it is optimal to only get double grenades at the Doom Hunter base fight, and then you want to pick up thicker skin and explosive pinatas.
Yeah.
Those are important because they actually route out chainsaws in Super Gore Nest, but you don't do, how do I put it? You have plenty of ammo on this path. So
I think you just haven't updated your route. I'm not sure like you've actually looked into this, but yeah, like you definitely want to get explosive pinatas, and that'd be the recommended both for safety and for getting scatter bombs is older. Choco discovered that getting the barrel upgrades now is actually a really good idea, and it helps with a more niche Super Gore Nest route that's a little harder. I don't think we're gonna show it off in this because it is kind of really like it is really tricky.
Drake's the
But
only
yeah.
one who gets it consistently.
Yeah, it's like I've practiced it a lot for any percent. That's why I think I'm the only one who can do it.
So, yeah, one thing to note, now that we have Precision Bolt and SSG upgraded, a lot of times we're just going to be trying to get free ticks whenever we can in these combat arenas.
Yeah.
This is the first real combat of Super Gore Nest. Basically, you want to kill as much fodder up top, go down to the first Mancubus, kill fodder by the pillar where we have rockets, get the other Manc. And we're already so far into the fight, I feel like I'm lost. But basically, it's you get Carcass, Revenant, Hell Knight, there's Prowlers that you go to.
This fight,
And then
I
Whiplash and
don't think you
Cacos.
need to spend that much time on this fight, Mute. But what I will say is that if you want to learn how to play Doom Eternal, a good level to practice religiously is Super Gore Nest.
Yep.
It
It's
really
the
has
most
like
combat
the
intense
most
level.
diverse tech, and it's really where you learn how to fight in this game. Like the early game fights are very like your tools are very limited in terms of movement and stuff like that. But like in this level, you were doing everything in terms of fight. You're nading, you're lock-on canceling, you're ballista boosting in between enemies, you're like it's movement and everything like that. Whereas in earlier fights, like the movement between enemies is rather simplistic. But yeah, as you can see here, he's like taking a break to fight to grab the secrets, etc., etc. And ammo routing is also can be really nerded out in this level as well. We mentioned a little bit that there's a there's an ammo route in this level that's very specific, but yeah.
Yeah. So with that fight, that's Super Gore Nest is a lot of what you see is what you get, and a lot of it is just it's like not too difficult to see what's going on. The real issue is executing it.
Yeah.
So, especially that first fight, practice it a lot.
Yeah.
On to this coming fight, we have one Dread Knight, then we also have two fodders and an Arachnotron that spawns in. You can just kill the fodder with the barrels, then two more fodder after you kill the Arachno will come, and then this Dread
That
Knight.
Guardia kill will usually be there. Usually just one here,
Yeah.
one here, but
I
sometimes
actually
Uh,
recommend this route a little different. Instead of going after the spider right away, go after the gargoyles first, since they consistently spawn in the same spot.
Also-
But this route's fine as well. It really they're both just as fast because you're kind of waiting for the Dread Knight to drop anyway.
Also,
So-
one thing to note, we kind of glossed over Mute getting the Glory Kill challenge. We'll explain that a bit on the next
Yeah.
Pinky.
Yeah, so he's actually skipping a pinky here. We're gonna come back to it later.
This fight, you want to fall down that hole on the opposite side that you enter, because otherwise you'd bait a Terminator, or excuse me, a Mecha Zombie attack.
I actually recommend here you chainsaw the fourth enemy in that fight.
you can. Yeah.
Because you have to wait. This chainsaw here is a little slower. That being said, that chainsaw there is safer. The one Mute did, the chainsaw route Mute is doing here is a little safer, just because if you chainsaw those initial fodder, the buff totem's still alive,
Oh.
and you don't have time to kill all the fodder, and it can be kind of scary.
Oh, okay, this secret encounter, basically, do you not Destroyer Blade here? Destroyer
Nope.
Blade's slow now?
Yep.
I
Is
didn't
it
get
slow?
the memo!
Oh, because you don't have D-Blade upgraded. That's right.
Yeah.
It's faster than Ace. It's faster than Ace because we can upgrade D-Blade. So you don't have D-Blade upgraded here, so you can do what Mute does. Destroy Blade is a little safer than what Mute is doing because, like, yeah. But yeah.
One thing to note, when Mute first entered this room before the secret encounter, that fodder killing route is actually very important. It's actually super scary because there's a buff totem soldier, and that
Yeah.
buff totem soldier can like just instantly 100 to 0 you real quick. So the recommendation is the mechas. You kill the fodder on the left side, and then there should be only a gargoyle on soldier here. You want to take them out. Be careful. Make sure you go into the soldier with a yeet hooking it or rocketing to the side. Basically, you just want to make sure you're safe killing.
Yeah. If you're playing on lower difficulties, you can safely chainsaw one of those guys instead.
Oh, this next arena.
Oh, this next arena, yeah. Do we even want to show him like the one cycle?
Yes.
Well, I will show him one cycle, but we should show him like a slower cycle. Do you
Okay.
remember like how we used to do this?
Yes, the make
Before?
first. Yeah.
Yeah, like without one cycling. Yeah, but basically, let's just show him the.
Yeah, Mute, just explain what you're doing as you're doing.
No, just let him.
Let's go that. Make sure the make is dead. Make is dead. 1, 2, 3. Get 4 here. Let's see. 4th right here. Kill 2. That one's not dead. I'll make sure he's dead later. 1, 2. Kill that rev. There's 2 left. And there it is. The one cycle. It's done. Oh.
Hey, that's fine. Free load checkpoint.
So some important details with this fight. The way Mute enters this fight is incredibly irresponsible because there's a small chance that he jumps over the trigger that continues this fight. I would just dash into this fight as a beginner, and then once we figure out how this intro trigger works, we'll let you know. Because the way Mute's entering this fight, I would not recommend it. It's very scary.
You can actually bunny hop into the fight, and that's quite consistent as well.
So if you don't
we don't
want a
quite
one
understand
cycle,
the trigger.
you can. Okay.
Wow, that's very spooky. You may want to slob him.
Oh.
You may want to slob him. Actually, just slob him and then go pick up quad.
So yeah, this will be quote unquote the safer route for basically if you don't feel confident in killing enough things with quad damage, like Mute just did because Mute's a gamer. Killing that Mac first helps, and then after that Mac, you kill 4 fodder. 4 fodder spawns in the Revenants, which you want to shoot as they spawn in. Dread Knight SSG. 1 Ballista kills the Cacos with quad damage and finish off the carcass. You should have plenty of quad damage by the carcasses if you do this route.
A good tip when you're running towards those carcasses, throw a nade, even before you can see them, because they have a bad habit of dropping walls in front of you. But yeah, this is another fight where you're going to be practicing a buttload.
Oh, I jumped over the trigger. Nice.
I don't think
that's why you don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to hook in that way he does. But yeah, because sometimes you can fly. The way you can tell if you fly over the trigger is whether or not the demon wall at the beginning is up. So right now it's up. The trigger worked. So you hit the trigger.
Yeah, this fight is literally just optimization of point and click. So
yeah,
learning it will be a bit difficult, but once you get it down, it's actually like so satisfying. And also fast. Wall bash down to this elevator. You got a chainsaw.
Kovac says I'd like to know as many top tier strats as possible. Yeah, Kovac, I think there's a thing like we can show off a lot of top tier strats. The problem is like some top tier strats, like they're so top tier that not even top tier players are running them and are comfortable with them. Like I can go over a bunch of optimizations here, like in Super Gorness based on the chainsaw route, but I think like that's a bit too in depth. And another reason, like, and we're gonna show off like a little bit more, you know, reasonable strats in the beginning first.
We just skipped over actually quite a bit.
I think what you see is what you get there. I think so
Well-
far everything that Mute's done, what you see is what you get. What
Except
I
for
will
the
say is that when
the
he did the
Spectre Blade, though.
D-Blade, when he dropped down and did that D-Blade, dropped down the elevator and shaft and did that D-Blade, you can actually go deeper in and D-Blade everything. And it's a little faster. I would argue even a little safer, but it can be a little tricky because like you have to nail the B-hop and you have to fly in perfectly.
That secret encounter, kill all fodder and the carcass. Mute, I think, is crazy for getting this chainsaw. Because that Mancubus has a freaking habit of sniping you coming out of it. I recommend chainsawing the fodder and the last fodder in the secreting.
Also notice he's skipping the secret there by the toxin refinery. So like he flew past the secret there instead of grabbing it. And we're gonna come back to that later. It's a little faster to pick it up with fast travel. So here he D-blades. That D-blade is actually not necessary.
Yeah, it is not.
But the reason we do it is because it's actually safer now. Actually, no, it doesn't even matter right now. The reason he does it is because at the end of the level when you're doing the escape sequence, those demons are going to bother you. If they're still alive, you don't have to worry about it because you can just throw a nade down and it'll falter them.
One thing to
No,
note,
you don't have
for,
to do that deblade.
for a special safety in that room, if you want to back up to where you debladed the whiplash. If your B-hops aren't perfect here, those shield soldiers and whiplashes can just instantly kill you. If you don't feel too confident in your B-hopping potential, I'd recommend just stopping right before this doorway, wait till the whiplash is in view, deblade.
Did you pick up Arbalest instead of? Wait, what?
Yeah, I picked Arba here.
Drake, I know he's not being optimal.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
goodness.
Drake, if you want me to do the new arc method of doing freaking convention hug, I gotta pick Arba. I'm not picking Michael.
Wait,
Yeah,
why?
because
What?
if you'd use convention hug, route, and arc, being able to ballista pause boost is a good backup.
I am not doing that without pause boosting.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we're not gonna cover that because that's still experimental. But like generally here, you should pick up micro missiles so you can do the bats tech. And for those of you who don't know what bats is, go look up Siler's video on bats, which
Yep.
explains it. Basically,
Yep.
yeah. But here's another thing you want to do if you're beginning. We also glossed over this. He skipped the chain gun.
Yep.
Don't skip the chain gun. Just don't be like us. Just get the chain gun, get energy shield. Who cares about bats? Who cares about Arba?
Yeah. So if you pick up the chain shield in that route, you would get energy shield instead of Arba because energy is just great for survivability. Oh, Meat's doing my route. Woo!
That's
Your
the
route, dude,
optimal way to
bruh.
do it. That's how you do it optimally.
So here he actually punches the box for a reason that despawns an invisible wall, which allows him to do this dash boost.
Yes, if you don't do
That's
that,
actually important that you
if
do
you want this 24 armor, you come up here. You do this.
and then you do the.
I still think this is
multi-dollar
cooler.
dash boost. It is pretty cool. I'm sad that it's obsolete. I discovered that dash boost, but
It's not obsolete because I'm doing it.
yet I doth protest. The punch boost is cooler, frankly.
Yeah, you punch boost there, double boost. Punch a box, and then you do that dash boost. But instead of going to that secret, you go to the battery right here.
I'd recommend doing the punch boost because in some ways it's a little safer, but in other ways it's a little not. If you're low on HP, probably don't do the punch boost because you're standing in lava.
Yep.
Oh,
But
one
if you have
thing,
energy shield, then it's fine.
one thing to note, Mute, when you get a chance, open your rune menu if you could.
Oh yeah. Alright, get a chainsaw here before the screen fades. Very easy. And sometimes you get scammed, you get 15. Don't worry about it.
The key to this chainsaw is that you hook off the mech.
Yeah.
Or
What-
the
yeah.
mecha. If you don't hook off the mecha, if you ballista past it, then the mecha won't be in good position. I don't know why.
There is a bit
Thank
of
you, Zach.
nuance to that as well, but very quickly on the runes, you know how we won't be equipping any of these. However, the right rune saving throw, just make sure that before that big quad damage fight, you pick this up
Yeah.
because if you're in a bad situation, there is no shame in quickly opening your rune menu, equipping saving throw, just so that you have a little bit of extra safety.
Yeah, we actually recommend this is a weird thing. If you're in a pickle, if you're like in trouble and you're low HP and you're getting surrounded, the first thing you want to do is take out the chain gun and bust out energy shield. That's the first thing you want to do. Then you want to do saving throw.
Okay,
Although-
one thing to note, if you missed a pinky beforehand, there's in that previous room, there's a backup pinky. That's probably your first, the pinky you want to get if you messed up previously.
Yeah. So this one, yeah.
Oh, you're petting it. Oh, one thing to note as well. I figured out in that previous room why you get less why you get less ammo from during that chainsaw cutscene.
Yeah.
Does it go under here?
If it is on the incline, you will get less ammo.
Huh.
If it is on the flat surface,
Sometimes
you will consistently get all of the ammo from the.
I've gotten full ammo off the ramp as well too. Sometimes it's weird.
Maybe it might be to the right.
Just tie your fingers together and pray.
Yeah.
If it's on the flat surface, it's perfectly consistent. That's basically it.
That I can agree with, but on the ramp sometimes you'll get it. But basically, the faster the better. That's all we're saying.
Yep, just grenade that whiplash and then continue onwards. Don't use an ice bomb because you'll need the ice bomb coming up here. after we get this Mancubus and this cool B-hop pattern. Gain some free headshots along the way.
Ice bombing the rev is nice just because of safety as well. And then here we pick up a secret we missed. And
Yep,
then
and
hilarious bug.
if you ever get that bug, just open weapon wheel to swap to a weapon. Ballista boost, when you get to the third Arachnotron, lock it on, grab the Slayer Gate key and the battery, and then when you're ballista boosting back, get that precision bolt. It's really what you see is what you get there.
Yeah, I don't think we really need to go into so much detail.
Now, both keys, and you may be wondering, we missed a few things. Whatever will we do?
Oh,
Well,
no, we missed a couple things. Oh, wow, the challenge is not finished.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with those right now. So we got fast travel just a second ago, and now we're going to activate this and then use it. First thing we're going to do is going to grab the secret we grabbed earlier. So actually, you want to go back here for a second, Mute, and explain white screen, because this is the only... This and Ace are the only category that use it, that are on the leaderboard right now. So when you use fast travel, and you're actually movement locked, and you can't move. But the way to cancel that movement lock is to open the dossier again after you fast travel.
Watch
so
my
you
inputs.
demonstrate.
I have an input
Yeah.
display. Yeah, just tab, dash, dash. I'm here.
And you can see him moving during the white screen.
Ow,
We call that white screening. And we're going to do that a few times. You want to be careful with a fast travel here at Vermilion Canal. There's a good chance... we'll cover it in a second. Let's just do this glory kill.
Oh, wait. Hold on. The glory kill setup for this Pinky is PB Rocket, PB Rocket, PB Rocket, and then you just glory kill it.
Yeah.
Then after you do this, get the Sprader token, and we should have everything except the Slayer Gate, which is where we're going to fast travel and do now.
Yeah. So now, when he fast travels to Vermilion Canal, be careful here when you're doing this, because there's a chance that if you dash off the ledge, that you'll just fall straight through the map. So I'd recommend fast traveling and then ballista boosting backwards, as opposed to dashing off the edge. So just Mute, do you have the compass on?
Nope.
If you have the compass on, you can actually blindly 180. Or you can just like wing it like Mute is doing, and that's also fine.
I don't know how to do that one.
Yeah, I've done some practice on it, but yeah, you can blindly do a 180, but if you have the compass on, you can actually do it. You can actually tell how much you're turning with the compass. But Mute doesn't have it on because he's a cultured man. We don't need color on our screen.
Yep.
But yeah, simple stuff. Then you plug in the key, and then here you upgrade. You can actually upgrade earlier, if I remember correctly.
You can.
Yes, you can upgrade earlier.
But it's just it's useless.
Yeah, but the only reason you can upgrade earlier is that you'd upgrade right before you fast travel, so you don't have to open the menu. It's a tiny optimization. It really isn't that much.
One stipulation before we get into the Slayer Gate, on more current patches, white screening is you can't do it.
Yeah, it's patched.
But if you're still benefiting from opening and closing menu because your character model is locked after you come out of white screen for like half a second, tabbing in and out will just let you move immediately. And also, back where we got that third Pinky Glory kill, if we're doing more modern patches, you'd get that right after you do that Crusher encounter.
Yeah, you would do that because the time save comes from fast traveling there, and also the reason why we do that, the reason it was discovered that it was fast to do the Pinky after, is because of whatchamacallits. What are you doing?
Are you gonna do the secret Tyrant encounter?
Yes, there's a secret. But yeah, one of the reasons why that Pinky thing was discovered, it's actually faster on the more optimal chainsaw route, but again, like we mentioned, that chainsaw route, we're not even going to cover it because it's it's kind of hard.
Why?
Something to note, this does not turn 100% all the time, but that balloon Tyrant secret encounter, you have to, sometimes if you fast travel, you just can't shoot the balloons, so you gotta just reload checkpoint.
If you don't know,
on UN,
one here.
It's weird.
There's one here, and there's one here.
Destroy those 3 balloons, yeah, and you get an extra encounter if you want to. Show that to your friends.
Oh, the cake is a lot. Anyways, Gate. Charge deep live when you're going in. You can do that while white screening. In here, you get a chainsaw.
You can also nade while you're chainsawing. Throw
That's
a
true.
nade down. This fight is like... This fight's weird. It's on a timer, but it's just a certain amount of enemies. The way we'd recommend doing it is just chase down as many carcasses as you can because they're kind of scary, and then just precision bolt as much as you can. Pick
There
up
will be
precision
5
bolt when you
carcasses
can.
in total. Some of them will spawn out of
Yeah.
bounds, so don't be alarmed if you
Yeah.
cannot find the 5th.
There's a few ways to do this fight. Like I have a different route, but they're all just a matter of preference. Generally, you just generally once the Dread Knight spawns, you want to be near the where Mute is right now, because then stuff will spawn in front of you as opposed to either side of you. And there's a chance, if you're really lucky, you can do this fight really quickly.
Yeah, this is one of the Slayer gates where you can skip a phase.
Yeah.
And that's
And
just
that
for
was a
killing
fast skip.
everything quickly. Keeping Ice Bomb, basically for Pinkies, or Blood Punch, and killing basically the Prowlers and Soldiers and everything as they spawn in right after the Dread Knight spawns.
Basically, you want to make sure that you like spawn cap the Dread Knight. It's very important. And the way you can tell when the Dread Knight's about to spawn is normally you come into this gate with no chainsaw. Mute gave himself ammo, but you'd have no chainsaw. So after you chainsaw the first dude, about maybe 3 seconds after your chainsaw refills, you want to chainsaw again, and then the Dread Knight should be about close to spawning. That's the timing you're going for.
Or
If
this soldier.
you-
This soldier is also an indicator.
If
Is
you
he? I don't
want
think
to
so.
as well, you can
Yeah.
also pick up 2 chainsaw fuel in this and chainsaw a heavy during this encounter. I
Yeah, if you wanna
typically
be a little
did that for the
safer.
Dread Knight.
But yeah, after that, you want to make sure to kill as much as possible, like literally anything. You want to kill soldiers, you want to kill Hell Knights, you want to kill everything. And if you're lucky again, you're gonna get
That was it.
you're gonna get a fast gate. Ideally, you want to.
Oh.
This is one of those examples where there's a trade-off between going for ticks. For example, in that example, Mute, Precision Bolt, and then hook onto a Prowler. You can actually Precision Bolt Ballista. And it's a little faster, but you know, there's a lot of complexities. You want to practice that gate a lot. One thing I will mention, something that I do, is that after I kill the Dread Knight, I actually stay where the Dread Knight stands, and I just go for long-range shots. I lock on Burst Hell Knights, and then I go for the Pinky. I find that more consistent. Some people find it less consistent.
You want to have
But
max...
one of the advantages of that is that all of the stuff spawns directly in front of you because you're on one side of the gate. This is one of those examples where your location determines where stuff spawns.
Also have
Just like in the Exaltia Slayer gate.
have max ballista coming out of this.
Yeah, it's very important. You want to come out with max ballista.
There it is.
For current patches, it's not as important, but still make sure it's pretty darn filled.
Why is that?
You get Ballista refill when you enter Fortress.
Oh my, that's right. Hilarious.
Get the key, Argent.
You white screen, and here you can actually start the cutscene in the middle of white screen. So he does a white screen there.
All this movement is super precise because we're trying to just like dodge all these zombies. Chainsawing 1 because we will need that ammo if you're on patch 1.1. And basically just getting out of here as quick as you can.
Yeah, and we chainsaw there so that we can ballista boost in the fortress because we're gonna do a lot of our collectibles in the fortress right now.
Yeah, more current patches don't have to chainsaw there. You can just keep going.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of history behind this. What you see is what you get here, just movement in between collectibles. There's maybe some fade and boost optimizations, but again, I don't think we really need to go into too much detail. What I will say before I give the story, if somebody could find a way to skip these batteries.
Oh my
Okay.
god, yes.
we really
These
appreciate
batteries.
that. Each battery insertion costs 7 seconds.
Almost 8.
7 full seconds. But yeah, there's some history. So originally, you saw a lot of runners do all of this at the very end. And then Zai, me, and Bowser, we actually timed a variety of ways to do it. You might see some runners do these collectibles after Super Gornest or before Super Gornest. That's also an option because it's nice and convenient. The ballista, you pick up the ballista and then you immediately go pick up these collectibles. But we actually recommend doing it here. And the reason is because right now Vega is having a long chat with chat with us, and that chat lasts 23 seconds. So while Vega's chatting, we're going to be doing some collection. And as it turns out, I can't remember the exact timing. This was like almost 2 years ago at this point, but it was something like 15, maybe even 17 seconds faster to pick up the collectibles here in total.
I feel a bit vindicated because before this was timed, this was my collectible route. So
Yeah.
I just
I
had
actually,
a gut feeling
I
and
was
it
a
worked.
stand for doing it before Super Blast. Like, that's what I believed was the fastest when we first timed this. I was wrong. Turns out Bowser
Oh,
and
yeah.
Zaya were right.
We don't need to go over it, but Mute, could you just show an example of that fade-in boost one more
yeah.
time for the folks at home? Just because some people may be like, whoa, what the frick did you just do there?
Yeah, this is a fade and boost I haven't seen yet.
Oh.
Ooh, oh, that's right. Oh, that's nice.
Basically, after you jump down here, you do a fade-in boost. Same way you do the portal in Exultia. Well, during the Exultia split. Yeah, the Repertorium
well.
tutorial.
Yeah. That's cute. I like that. It's really nice.
Thank you.
I should record that and put it in the Strat Talk. That's nice.
Oh,
looked at it
and one
myself.
thing, that wall bash ballista thing you do,
yeah.
that might have just gone over some people's heads.
It's hard. Don't worry about it. It's not necessary.
It is hard. Go for it if you want to. There's very little risk to it. It's just literally just optimization.
It's
just
cool
know
as
that we
hell.
are comboing a ballista boost into a wall bash, so it's hard.
So that's why you should do it, because that's why we play this game.
I mean, there's a reason why we speedrun on Ultra Nightmare, right?
Wow.
It's all skill.
Our complex.
How much?
All right, our
I'm already
complex
getting a
is
headache.
our complex is rough. A lot of closed corridors, a lot of carcasses, and carcasses are very. They like to emulate the early 2000s and spin. So we'll go through one by one, but like another problem with Arc. Okay, let me mention this on the outside. The primary problem with Arc, aside from the fact that it's very claustrophobic, is that a lot of enemies aren't required. Like, you're gonna do a lot of fights where you're gonna just ignore enemies. If you're starting out, kill everything. Just mucking kill everything. Don't worry about it. Don't do what we do. But we're gonna show off the enemies that you need to kill, and we're gonna go through it slowly because it takes a lot of memorization, and just be careful because this level is spooky. My rant is finished. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Yep. All right. Our complex. Let's go.
I'm not even gonna mention the subtleties of ammo routing. Just chainsaw as much as you need to. Like, we're not gonna. There's some optimizations Mute's not gonna do. Don't worry about it.
There's a few spot where ammo routing, chainsaw routing is really important. Like,
and we'll mention them, but otherwise not that much.
Yeah. Other than that, as always, if you need ammo, just chainsaw. You'll lose more time trying to account for the ammo change than actually just getting our chainsaw.
Mute, can you restart the mission?
Yeah.
Let's go over what imps you actually need to kill there. Actually, yeah, you know what? Why not? I was gonna ignore it, but you want to kill all of the imps, and you don't need to kill the mech, but you should kill the mech if you're being honest. So you want to kill everything here that he's killing, and then you want to kill these imps here that's right in front of the mech. He's gonna kill the mech, but you don't need to. And here's an imp that he ignores up back there. You can ignore that imp, but yeah.
Very important you kill that soldier before you go grab that collectible, because that spawns in the next wave.
Yes. And you don't have to wait for the next wave. Oh, it doesn't matter because you're waiting for D-Blade to charge anyway, but yeah, it's also nice.
Yep, chainsaw this mech. Avoid literally everything. Send a D-Blade down there, killing both Whiplashes and the soldier.
And that's it, yeah.
Those are the only required. We're going to farm the shield charge mask challenge.
And then hilarious, sometimes the carcass will do that.
Yep. Shoot the carcass shield and the shield soldier, and you should have 5 or 6.
If you don't have it, if you have 1 or 2, no problem. Get one right here. There's gonna be a shield right here. Get that.
I would say that you should not, because there's a free one later.
No. If you have like 1 or 2, you have to get that one.
You don't have to get that one.
A free one where?
There's a free one in the. I'll mention it when we get there. It's after Slayer Gate.
So
Yes,
you actually, one little detail here he's mentioning, or one little detail we're glossing over here. Notice that when he debladed the Revenant, it broke both its turrets, and that attributed to its challenge. And that's actually very important, and that's why we're going to actually deblade here, even though it's a little faster to, like, if we could do this fight a little differently, but we're deblading there so we can get this challenge. Now we can actually upgrade if we want to, but we recommend that you wait till you get to the Slayer Gate. Here you're just making sure to get Glory Kill. You wouldn't need to do this if you had Armor for Blood XD.
This fight is probably one of the most complicated things. A lot of stuff isn't required.
Yeah.
Let's just get a demonstration of it first, and then we'll break down every demon you need to kill.
Okay,
Yeah.
that imp that just
You
jumped
do it
up
with
was
no-
required.
Do it with no target. So like walk through it. Which demons? I think. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing before we begin, just no target for me, Mute. Remember that pinky that broke through the glass? We recommend you kill it because it doesn't despawn. There's also
And-
going to be 3 zombies on the stairs here.
Also ammo here.
There's 3 zombies on the stairs. Those aren't required, but we recommend you kill them because they're free and they also don't despawn. We're going to come back to mob caps later. But here you kill all the fodder. You're going to kill the spider for safety, although you don't need to. You basically want to kill 8 of those first set of enemies. And then once you do, the next wave will spawn. So you can go even slower. Like you're
Yeah.
flying through it. Just show exactly what enemies you want to kill and where they are, because like this fight is very
All right,
very complicated.
I will tell you exactly.
I would say as a note, just before we begin, that spider killing it is not safety. It's actually just time lost. Don't do it. I'm a high advocate. Just leave that spider alive.
Okay.
I'm also a high advocate, but I think it's very spooky to
Here's
keep
the-
that spider alive.
This spider is
It's not
spooky, and also
So
this imp
those
will run away.
Yeah.
And it's hard to control it if you just stay here. For some reason, if you stay here, they will run towards you. But if you ignore the spider and come over here, half the times this imp is down here, and also this soldier will run down here.
Not in
Yeah,
my
but-
experience. In my experience, like they're more consistent because they have less time to run away. Whereas with the spider, they have more time to run away.
That's-
But I
yeah.
guess your
It's
results
preference.
may vary.
Yeah.
I still recommend you kill the spider because it's safe.
Yeah, it's safer.
Optimally, you don't have to, but whatever. But basically, what we're saying here is you have to kill 8 of the enemies that are in front of you. So these imps, the revs, the spider, the cybermank that spawned further back. You don't need to kill it. But yeah, you don't have to kill the rev because it's not necessarily required. But you can kill the rev and it will contribute to the numbers. So it can be any of these enemies that are right in front of us, as well as those at the top of the stairs, which you can't see right now, and the soldier on the left by the bottom of those main stairs.
I will run
that he
through
pointed
this
out earlier.
very quickly. Zombie headshot, 1, 2, 3. Kill this dude. Come here. You gotta kill 2. If you kill these 2, it's fine. If you kill these 2, it's fine. Just make sure to kill 2 fodder here. Hook up. This one's free. Kill him. Kill this guy. Another imp. This specific imp is incredibly important. This one that spawns right here. This
It will run
is
away.
the imp that you need to finish this. Like, there's no other imp that you need. You can kill any other imps to finish this, but this specific imp that spawns right here is necessary.
No, actually, those 2 imps that you killed before, those are actually required. The imp by that Hell Knight over there is not required. That's that imp right there that's on the platform. But like all 3 of those imps that he killed, those 3 specific imps, those are the ones that are required. Any other imp isn't actually required.
Like this one, you can
Wait.
leave him or you can kill him. Doesn't matter. But this one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That imp, the reason why he's highlighting it is because that imp will run away.
Yes.
And you want to, if you actually want to practice, you'll know if that imp is, if you did the fight well. Because if that imp is not there, then you're slow and you ran away and you're in trouble.
And then
'Cause now you have to
basically
hunt everything.
after that, it's killing that mecha and zombie, which is actually weird because they're typically not required enemies, but they are in this encounter.
Yeah, so he kills the mecha there, and then he kills the spider, and then here he chainsaws the zombie. There is some chainsaw optimizing you can do here to chainsaw the spider. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's art complex. It's fine.
Yep.
Highly recommend for safety. If you have an opportunity while you're grabbing all these collectibles, kill the Hell Knight. Just throw a lock on its way, because it can chase you all the way into the Slayer Gate and just end your UN run.
Yeah. And this Slayer Gate is the second most dangerous fight in the entire run. It is the second most dangerous fight in the entire run. Easily. Is there any other run or any other fight that you can think of that's more dangerous than this one aside
No.
from?
Only
Yeah,
in
it's-
DLCs.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about specifically the Slayer Gate or the Sub-Slayer Gate?
Yes, the spider will do that. Don't worry about it. That is not new. This isn't.
It's
this isn't a
okay.
new occurrence.
It's just because that Arachnotron's from Australia, so it will
Yep.
try to go back to its native home state.
Shout out to our Aussie
Orientation,
friends.
indeed. Here
Ran
you
it
can
here.
you upgrade frostbite and
Okay.
whatchamacallits.
Remember that imp that I highlighted? If you didn't kill it, It's fine. It's okay because 80% of the time, I'm pulling this statistic out from nowhere, but 80% of the time, it'll be right here behind you. It'll be chasing you.
Oh, important detail. That fight, if you miss the spider or like one of those, the final wave, right?
Oh,
Can you no target here for a second, mute? That final wave, if you miss one of the spider or the mecha or the zombie, don't get fooled by the imps over there in the back breaking open the glass. They will,
Oh, yeah.
for progress, you only need to kill one less than the required. You need to kill the full fight, or rather all the stuff that Mute killed, in order for you to get weapon points. So if you see the imps break through the glass, that doesn't mean anything. You gotta wait till you get the weapon points just to make sure that you've completed the fight, if you're not sure.
Note for beginners, I highly recommend picking up that weapon mod bot right there where the Cybermax is found and grabbing energy shield because you'll likely need it.
Yeah.
And then while you're down there, go by the window, and get the imps to break through. This for if you're not running Ultra Nightmare, and you die in that Art Complex Slayer Gate or reload checkpoint, you're just soft locked and you'll have to reset mission.
Yeah, the imps won't break through the window.
On UN, don't worry, because if you die, your run's dead anyhow. You can just ignore it.
And I don't know what would make someone crash in this Slayer Gate, frankly. I have no idea what would cause someone to crash.
BFG.
Duh.
New Game Plus Masters.
Alright, this Slayer Gate. Oh.
I mean, okay, let's just say right off the bat, there is no right way to do this Slayer Gate.
Yep.
It's very random because you want to start the Slayer Gate with no target and just cover the basics of the waves.
Yeah, you know, I'll show it once and then.
Yeah, show it once and we'll explain the details of this.
Of
this Slayer Gate.
Let's just say lots of runners have different strats for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all perfectly fine.
Except for mine. This one's slower, but I feel like it's safer.
So, main thing looking around here after killing the tyrants, there's 3 heavies that spawn in. They can consist of Mancubus or Whiplashes. How many are Mancubus or Whiplashes? Are random. You can get 3, you can get a lot. Well, as soon as 2 of those heavies are dead, this Baron spawns in. And then, after the Baron's dead, a Doom Hunter spawns. And the rest of the 3 heavies. And that's the encounter. Well, after killing.
And then after you kill the tyrant and the Doom Hunter, then you want to go for fodder. Don't finish off the fodder so we can restart the fight.
I know. I want to hit some headshots. I've been lacking today. Yes, now we know target.
Okay, so the tyrants will spawn in the same location will spawn consistently. Will be consistent. It's the heavies that are problematic. The super heavies will always spawn at the same time and same location. It's the heavies that are problematic. So that Whiplash will sometimes spawn as a mank, sometimes not spawn there in that location. So yeah, that's why everybody has a different fight route here. Some people like to kill, the heavies first and then go for the super heavies. Some people like to go for the super heavies first, etc., etc. Mute likes to do this double D-blade strat on the Tyrant. Some people double D-blade the Baron and the Tyrant. If I were to recommend a strat for beginner, just PB rocket everything, and then chainsaw and PB rocket everything.
The only thing
for advanced players,
not doing with that, at the start, always charge a D-blade just because it's literally free.
Yeah, it's literally free. You're waiting for Tyrants to take forever to spawn. You can charge the D-blade. One thing we will say is that this gate is the reason we pick up barrel ammo. Without this gate, we probably wouldn't really need it. So feel free to use barrel ammo because barrel ammo saves a couple chainsaws in this gate alone.
Yeah. I would say I have a route that I personally use that's one chainsaw that doesn't lose time, where you chainsaw the last heavy and you're doing that chainsaw while the Doom Hunter's spawning in. But like I said, there's plenty of ways to do this.
Yeah.
If you see this guy spawning, just jump back, otherwise you get mauled.
Yeah. The reason why this gate is so dangerous is because in chaotic situations, Manx and Whiplashes are the 2 heavies you do not want to deal with. Like they're the demons. Like they are the 2 heavies that are the scariest in chaotic situations. Like if you're playing randomizer and there's a field full of Manx and Whiplashes, it's super scary.
Yeah.
So
Whiplash
that's the reason why.
unlock you. Mancubus just does insane damage with the
Yeah.
cannons.
Whippies are just horrifying in chaotic situations. One thing that you won't see a lot of runners do is they won't lock on the heavies. I actually recommend you lock onto the heavies. That's what I personally do. I go after both tyrants first, or rather, excuse me, I go after one tyrant first, and then I lock on burst the other two heavies, or the three heavies, and I find that that's like the safest, in my opinion. It's fine if you the combo for a mank, if you get manks, is lock on burst and then ballista, and the mank should die. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that, or just shoot another rocket on them. But yeah. So you're gonna find that no fight in one gate is the same. It's just a matter of some like you're gonna see some differences. If you're playing on classic or lower difficulties, feel free to forgo barrel immunity for regenerating barrels. That's also a fine decision. But generally, yeah, if you want to go the fastest, you want to leave the second tyrant till while the Doom Hunter is spawning.
If you can
Because
kill
you're
it,
waiting for the Doom Hunter spawn.
go for it.
Yeah, if you can kill the tyrant while the Doom Hunter is spawning, go for it. If not, just, yeah.
A good practice is, I notice I've been in this situation a lot of times to where I killed two of the heavies, I can't find the third one. So what I typically would do is focus the tyrants, and the heavy will eventually find you.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure you're just not doing nothing.
This is one of those fights. It's hard for us to recommend really practicing. It's more like you just suffer through it until you stop dying. That's more the way we'd describe it.
If there's any fight to bang your head against the wall, this is the fight. Make sure you get a strategy that you're comfortable with, that you're somewhat consistent with, and you don't die as often. Because this is a run killer. Like, Art Complex is just the level of run killers, honestly.
It's one of those levels that, no, to be fair, it's a level that's worth practicing, and it's a level worth trying to perfect, because like Super Gornest and like every other, and like Doom Hunter based bosses, the faster you are, the safer you are. And I think, like, this is one of those levels where you do want to practice profusely and make sure you got it really sharp, because that'll keep you alive more than just playing super safe, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, totally. I think we've talked this gate to death, so
Yeah.
Mute, if you want to just do it one last time for demonstration, we can move on.
Alright, for scientific purposes, this is the one.
So again, the heavies, the location of the heavies is random, but the super heavies is quite consistent. Stay safe, stay far, PB rocket for safety. Mute is very dangerous here. Wouldn't recommend it if you're a beginner, but
The
yeah.
Baron will consistently spawn, actually right about where Mute is right now, right where you saw that.
Yeah, the Baron will spawn on that location.
Every single time.
This is also very spooky strat where Mute goes for the double D-blade. Again, wouldn't recommend it for beginners, just kill them one at a time.
Quick question, I'm curious, is double D-blade worth it in damage values to do that?
It's nice. It's efficient. It's nice.
Because I always thought it was 3 heavies, like, caught up in a D-blade is always worth it to charge, even though you're doing no damage.
I mean, if you get lucky, you'll.
I'm talking about the
D.
D-blade on the. I'm talking about the D-blade on the Baron and the Tyrant.
Oh, yeah, I do a very similar version of that, actually.
Make sure you leave with 2 fuel at least.
Yeah, at least 2 fuel. Again, if you have regen barrels,
You can fib here.
You'll refill real easy. Yeah, another fib. Here you pick up energy shield, and then after this you'd pick up
Oh,
microsis.
it's open. Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. One thing to note here,
can
this
get back up
backup,
here.
like, yep, right here, that's perfect. You can consistently get 1 or 2 there, so if you have 4 or 5 at that point, should be fine. I honestly, how I put it, all the other carcasses, they're not too good to get off of. Shield mastery thing.
Because
That's
we're
where we
going to
pick
be
up
showing off
micro
airplane
missiles.
skip, you don't have to kill everything.
Yep.
Just a
Oh, you're
little
gonna
bit.
do airplane skip route?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to kill. You don't have to kill any of the things he just did. I think he just did it because it's.
No,
like,
well,
yeah.
you have to kill some of it, because you're gonna get a little bit spawn capped, and you won't be able to chainsaw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you gotta kill a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
also-
Yeah, because there's a way to avoid that soft lock, but it involves skipping a trigger. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, there's just free SSG PB ticks as well
Yeah.
while you're doing that movement. So kill it.
Airplane escape. Yeah, you do
Here
not
he,
have to do this.
Mute. Reminder to never reload after this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't
Until you
reload after you
complete
do airplane
the-
skip. Otherwise, you'll soft lock.
We're gonna
come
do
here.
airplane skip with a technique called pause boost. Oh, you don't do pause boosting?
I don't do the
You
pause
don't really
boosting. one.
need pause boosting.
I do pause boosting because it makes it more consistent, but
The
You
trickiest
don't
thing
need
about
to.
this is not the ballista boosts. You can do punch cancels. You can do bats punch cancels. You don't even have to do punch cancels. You can do this. The trickiest thing about this is the mantle. The mantle's a bastard, frankly.
I will show you
It's
what
very
happens if you
weird.
fail it. So if we're, oh no, I missed it. Oh no, what happens? If you move too far to the right, the wall there spawns. You can't. You have to do this arena. I will.
I highly recommend if you're a beginner, and I'm not a beginner, but I still do the pause boost strat. The pause boost strat is way more consistent. Basically, you pause boost twice. I'll link a demonstration of me doing it in.
I don't even think you need to. It's just a pause boost.
Okay,
It's like
fine,
any other
Drake. Yeah, we get it. You're good.
But yeah, this is how you do the
Oh,
arena.
yeah.
They're like the arena's done. I should put checkpoint. Okay, good. We're good.
If you do the pause boot, if you do the, we'll cover how to do this fight with, once you do airplane skip, it's a little different because you have to route some ammo stuff in. But yeah, once you do airplane skip here, there's a few ways to do it, but yeah, I would recommend punch boosting this, punch canceling this because it's a little easier. But yeah, you're basically just jumping over a trigger. And the trickiest part is the mantle. Sometimes the mantle can be a bastard and you can fall. But other than that, it's like, it's pretty
Oh
self-explanatory.
no, I
You
failed
just-
it. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you fail it, especially on UN, you just have to do the fight normally. So
Which
it
I
might be worth
demonstrated
it.
earlier.
So yeah, that fight, we're not skipping that fight. We're skipping the fight after it, and Mute's gonna demonstrate that now. So
Yeah.
we're skipping this fight temporarily, and we're actually gonna despawn part of it. Now, if you guys read the rules, you'll realize, oh wait, what? You're despawning, but that's not allowed. Well, here's the thing: the part we're despawning. Mute, if you want to go into the fight and show them that the mank has disappeared now. So all those soldiers that we're fighting, they aren't required for the fight. You can ignore them. But they're dangerous, so you should kill them if you don't do this skip. So he went down the stairs there and hit a despawn trigger. Do you want to show him exactly where it is?
Right here.
It's like the third line. Or sorry, the second or third line. If
I
you go
reckon-
too far down, then,
you go
then the stairs
here,
fight will start.
Then I will. Okay, you know what? Wait, will I get a checkpoint if I get the line here?
I think you might.
Let's find out.
I would just. Oh.
Yeah, I got to check. Damn. Anyways,
you
here's
gotta check
here's
it.
how you do this fight. So, you come here, you just.
You have blood punch here. This is nice on this pinky, but you don't need to do it. And then here you would
would
do the secret
chainsaw.
encounter.
You would just.
Yeah, if you do have this fight, you do have to do the secret encounter at this point. If you do airplane skip, we come back to the secret encounter.
Yeah, you would do this, but we'll show you this later. Don't worry about it right now. And yeah, that's airplane skip.
Oh, can you go back to where you hit the trigger? For a quick consistent for beginners, if you Mute can just wing this, you kind of into it. But if you go to this top of the stairs, like right to the top step, and if you dash once down the stairs, that's perfect. You literally hit the trigger exactly.
Yeah, so here's the entire course of movement. You come up here, come up. If you are really baller, you can do a little wall. That's right here. You know, you can do that. But half the time, it'll suck you into the ground. You'll hit the wall and you'll die. But you know, here's your average course of movement through here. You can wall dash on these little pillar thingies. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, I triggered this fight, so I'm just gonna.
Normally, these enemies would not be here if you did the airplane skip route.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think we're gonna spend too much time on the stairs fight. If you're wondering, we just recommend doing airplane skip. It's actually just that nice. It's safer, it's faster, and it's not that hard of a trick. And then for that fight, you just want to kill stuff. There isn't really a very there isn't really a high tier sort of idea behind. Also, if you do airplane skip, none of the stuff that just spawned behind Mute would spawn.
If
So
you
that's
do
another
want to
reason
do
why
that
it's
fight, because I don't know, you want to, the world record holder, Absolute Massive, does do that fight in their world record. So just watch that run. This, we want to kill both Manx, grab the Berserk power-up, and we're going to kill very specific heavies throughout this fight. The Arachnotron, the Pinky, and then 4 Whiplashes, which spawn between these 2 windows in a somewhat random order.
Yeah, 50-50.
And
And then while you're killing them, you just want to drop nades because again, we're going to be discussing spawn gaps in a second.
Every
then you
kill
after that.
with a grenade, every kill you get in Berserk extends Berserk, so dropping those grenades helps a lot with that.
And now he's actually going to spend some time. The fight's over, he can leave, but he's actually going to spend some time and kill some stuff. This is because we're going to be doing a skip here that skips the despawn trigger for all these demons. We're also going to show you how to hit this despawn trigger as well. So he's going to kill some more stuff here.
If you need more ticks, here's one.
Yeah. You want to show the despawn trigger?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So what you do is you go to the turret.
So you would, for example,
You jump into the portal, or yeah, you can either jump into the portal, or you can go hit the trigger of the turret. Should just no target.
Trying to
here,
show
then.
the cool Death Plane warp.
Yeah.
It's a little higher. Do a double boost.
I'm gonna.
Oh, that will mess up our show
Airplane, that's
fights
fine.
because we. Okay. I guess we
okay.
can reset mission and we can no target back to demonstrate that fight.
Yeah. You don't have to go nearly as high as Mute's doing. There's a demonstration of this, but yeah, you want to dip into here. You want to dip into this a little bit, and that despawns everything. A little lower. Right. If you fall in, you can just double ballista boost back out, or excuse me, single ballista boost, I think. Right. And then what you do to get back is you just jump, dash into the portal, or excuse me, yeah, you can dash into the portal. Everything's despawned, and then you can do turret skip.
Yeah.
Oops. I
Would
keep messing
say
up. What the-
that you can mess that up. There's a, you know, grabbing that despawn trigger. If you
We
want
don't
for
actually know what's
reliability-
faster. We don't know if it's faster to hit the despawn trigger or kill the enemies. Most top runners kill the enemies.
Yeah.
We haven't really done sophisticated timings for this.
In case
There
you're
is
wondering-
another way to deal with these enemies that doesn't involve either hitting the trigger or despawning them, but it requires a hard trick, and we're not really going to cover it. We might mention it in passing later on. We might. I know we're going to link Deceptix's personal best. He does that route, and if you want to do that, it's a little safer than the despawn trigger or killing the enemies, but it does require a very hard trick. Early on in the level. Not hard trick, but finicky, I would say. Like, it's a pain in the ass, that trick.
I'm just want to get.
Is there anything you want to mention about current patch? Any modifications other than the ones we've done?
This level is relatively unchanged on current patch. A lot of what you see is what you get here, like on those patches. Oh, the Marauder kill.
Yeah.
The Marauder kill, we won't be able to do the Ice Bomb trick that you just saw Mute do zoom pass. But when we get back there, you want to do a one cycle, and unfortunately, at this point, you don't have many consistent one cycle tricks.
This would be faster.
Basically, well, actually, I'll just wait till Mute gets there and explain.
There's like about 1 trillion Marauder one cycles. Which one do you use? Do you use Lock on Bursts nade?
I use Slob Nade.
Yeah, okay.
That's
that
a
was
bit
my
tricky
favorite.
at this point in the game because you don't have dual lock mastered, so it's unreliable. But
If you double nade, it should be reliable, but yeah, having double nade at that point I think is a little spooky because sometimes you might burn it in the.
You should have double nade by that point, but it's still, how do I put it, not as unreliable with fast lap. Mute's just trying to get to the points to where we can demonstrate the fight route again, because note to self, loading checkpoint on Art Complex messes up half of it in this route.
Yeah. The reason it breaks is because when you do airplane skip and you reload checkpoint after airplane skip, the fight won't complete. Like, you'll come back to this fight and you'll go, oh, why isn't it, like, you'll fast travel back, which is what we were gonna do, and then it just won't work, and yeah. So unfortunately, that's a problem with airplane skip. If you crash or if you're playing classic, you have to be careful with it. So
This
But it
what
is worth
the-
it to go for. Definitely, if you're playing UN, it really simplifies our complex dramatically, in my opinion. It really is a breath of fresh air in our complex.
Back up all that
Notice
shit.
how all these enemies aren't spawning in because we did airplane skip. This is another benefit of doing it because you're just safe when you're picking up all these collectibles.
Yeah. Yeah, Kovac mentions that the grenade only explodes once it hits the ground. That is true. That might be why sometimes it might be inconsistent for you to use a nade. So you could just drop the nade downwards, but that's a little easier said than done. You got to do some practice on that.
Yeah, let's
So
just
we'll get to
say,
that when we discuss the Marauder.
It's somewhat consistent. It's not as consistent without dual lock. But
Yeah, dual lock makes it trivial. Like dual lock is ball. Dual lock's
Bowser
long
also
as
does a cool one cycle, which is basically like a slob nade blood punch, but
Yeah.
I never got it to work. So if you want to try it at home, go ahead. But
Otherwise, you would in later runs you're gonna fun zone that Marauder.
yeah, there's a lot of fun zones for current patch, which will be fun to talk about when we get to those later levels.
Yeah, and we're gonna have, and they're all lineups. You can't do a lineup on this Marauder because you can't spawn camp it. But if you're curious about any fun zone, we have them in the Strat doc. We have them listed in Strat clips. I've done a bunch of them for Tac 1.
Oh, my favorite fun zone's in Final Sin, because you do one off a Marauder jumping down from a ledge. It's
My favorite one's like in Tar. There's 2 in Taurus that are great that I actually do. I actually do a fun zone in any percent now.
okay,
you can believe
so mute. You're about to fight a boss.
What? What boss?
Wow, boss.
Wow.
There you go. Wow. Mirauders. So here you actually want to hit tab once before fast traveling so that it gets rid of the codex. Because you notice that when Mute first opened the dossier, it went to the Marauder codex, and that's just because he killed the Marauder. So you hit tab twice first, and then hit tab, and then once you get the fast travel pop up, you're now going to fast travel to Mooring Aeronautics. This is the airplane. You're going to dash backwards twice, or 3 times, excuse me, and now the fight should spawn. Here we're just going to do some cleanup. There's a variety of ways to do this. Some people like to start the secret encounter. That's technically faster, but extremely inconsistent. I wouldn't recommend it. But then you just want to do a bunch of D-blades, and if you all remember the routing episode we covered,
You want to get a chainsaw here?
D-blade. Yeah, you want a chainsaw here, very important. And then you want to pick up a chainsaw fuel here. Actually, Mute's a little low. I think we missed some stuff, but you're actually able to chainsaw this pain elemental if you want to, but you don't need to.
It's
If you don't chainsaw the Dread Knight. But if you
secret
don't
yeah,
chainsaw
sorry,
encounter,
you
we pick up this
chainsaw the Dread
collectible
Knight.
after we start the secret encounter because we have to wait for things to spawn in, so grabbing a collectible during that is fast. However, it makes the pain elemental a bit scary.
Anyways, the arena's done.
So yeah.
One thing to note on the previous arena before that secret encounter, some people like to D-blade there. It's actually about just as fast to just clean it up without D-blades.
Which arena? Where?
This
This one.
Oh yeah. You're waiting a lot for fodder on the stairs. This fight's a little random. There's a lot of fodder on the stairs and on those platforms sometimes.
So,
But yeah.
so yeah, it's you can D-blade there. You can also just PB sticky until your heart's content. But it's not, how do I put it? It's about the same. Like, you know, it's within the margin of error for execution.
But D-blade is cooler, which is why you should do
It is cool. Yes.
Get the cool points.
So now after you finish the secret encounter, you immediately want to fast travel to Arc Turret. If you weren't doing airplane skip, you'd fast travel to Arc Turret after killing the These are just some free headshot ticks that he's going for. Those enemies aren't required.
Walk on tainted ground. Earth must be cleansed.
Here we just got some, actually, this platforming that Mute's about to do here is actually a bit precise where they ballista boost and whatnot. Bit too complicated to go step by step there, but basically you want to copy what Mute does exactly if you want to go as fast.
Yeah, these corridors are a little tight. You
I
want to
chainsaw
really
here. You don't
practice
have to.
spacing out. You really, yeah. It depends. Like it depends on your chainsawing route. If you chainsaw the pain, then you wouldn't need to chainsaw here.
Yeah.
You're gonna also notice he does something cute here. He jumps into the fight charging D-blade. He actually turns over to the right, and once the D-blade fully charges, it blows up the barrels. That's a cute little thing to save some time on barrels here.
You
So
get lucky.
the start of this fight, you actually want to kill anything. Like you don't have to kill the heavies. You just want to kill anything, and that'll start the next wave. And you just have to kill a certain amount. You go after the carcass first, and then you go after Hell Knights.
Yeah, in case you are wondering, there are 2 free chainsaws you can get during this combat arena if you don't do the chainsaw that Mute did previously, but you know. Oh, there's one.
It also depends. Like yeah, chainsaw routing. We're not going to get too much into detail, but you can chainsaw while waiting for stuff here, just because there's a long wait in between. So some people like to chainsaw right now. Where Mute would rather kill stuff with overdrive, and the reason he's doing so is because there's a chance that you can finish this fight incredibly quickly. There are other ways to do this. Like I could write a dissertation on this fight alone, and the various ways to do it. But
The first strat I found was the skip. It was great.
really, you discovered
I was the first one, yeah.
Wow.
So you'll notice there at the end, he had very little fodder there at the end, and that's just because he spent a lot of time with overdrive. My personal preference is that instead of going for overdrive early, I go for it at the very end, so that I can use it to speed up the next section. And I'm able to still like get the
Where I'm standing
I'm
is
still
very
able to get
precise.
the-
You can manipulate the Hell Knight to spawn in. Sorry.
Oh really? I didn't know about that.
That's one thing to note as well. This arena has a crap ton of chainsaw, so if you want to, you can collect some of that when you're collect some of
Yeah.
the fuel when you're doing this fight, and you can chainsaw one of the heavies if you want.
Yeah.
I like chainsawing the first Hell Knight first.
So Mute has a very specific timing here, and the reason he's doing it is just so that he can spam rockets to clean up fodder. You don't need to do this. You can probably clear this fight just as fast without this. But it is actually quite nicer. It simplifies things a little
If
bit.
all the fodder are dead before the Arachnotron spawn in, you'll hear the music swap to the ambient track, and you can actually go by the corner of the arena, and Cybermech will burst through immediately. You don't have to kill the Arachnotron.
Yeah.
Kovac asked a question asking if the fodder before this fight required for spawn cap. I believe it
No.
all despawns as soon as you
It
enter this
despawns.
arena.
It despawns. The only reason you want to kill it is because of Armor for Blood.
Yeah. Basically, the fodder on the way there is just, it's just free health, so might as well just kill it.
There's a lot of complexities with this fight. Like, if you're in a situation where you're waiting for the spiders to spawn, or waiting for the pinkies and the snakes to spawn, you can actually target at certain fodder, and some other fodder you can ignore. Like for example here, like you can go after the soldiers, but you can ignore the imps, and then once the snakes are all dead, then you want to go after the imps and the gargoyles. Sorry, not the gargoyles. Yeah, the imps.
Yep. If you aren't trying to clear fodder while the Arachnotrons are spawning in, you can also just chainsaw, because that's free as well.
Yeah, and you can get ticks for for masteries. Like that's what older runners used to do before this skip was discovered. Used to just chainsaw twice here to top up, and then we also used to just go for ticks like headshots and heavy cannon shots.
Yeah.
Or, excuse
So
me,
if you're not going for haste room early, which haste room early is like, how do I put it? A blue moon strat where even if you go for it like Mute, you rarely get it. So
I don't think you need to get haste rune to get the strat, but it does simplify things when you go for it. Like I've gotten it without the haste rune, but it's a little trickier because you have to like really nail your PB rockets and really nail your PB stickies and like your shots. Whereas with this, you're just spamming rockets, switching rockets. It's much simpler.
If you're not going for the early end to this encounter, feel free to chainsaw, farm for SSG and PB ticks. Those are probably the ones you need most of.
That little lurch you noticed there, where he just stopped moving, that happens. You just gotta have to deal with it.
Yeah,
and then
it's just a trigger for when you get to the end of that pipe. You can't prevent it.
you don't need to kill his enemies. He's doing it because it's nice and safe.
Yeah, I don't like them just throwing stuff at me.
Here we're upgrading Arbalist because the first
You could
gecko
upgrade
we
this
wanna kill
earlier,
is
by the way. You could upgrade this all the way back when you fast traveled. You can also upgrade Ice Bomb here, the faster ice cooldown. But like at this point, we've gotten everything that's useful. Now we're just getting stuff that because we can. You can actually skip this trigger that spawns these enemies here, but if you don't, then you can get an Arbalist tick right here.
You get
But
these
yeah,
enemies.
it's
don't spawn
faster
at
to
you.
skip the trigger, but if you don't, then you get a free Arbalist tick, which is nice. and you get some ice bomb. And you actually want to kill some of that fodder that you walk by, because if you don't, because we're skipping the despawn trigger because we're gonna fast travel past these dudes.
Oh, well, okay, we can get into this at the end, but talk about a bit about the rationale of why we fast travel everywhere, because I don't think we did that.
So the reason is because of turret skip. Turret skip.
Oh,
So
but
for those of
very
you,
quickly before you start there, that encounter, it's as simple as a destroyer blade, PV rocket, and the mech, and then we would fast travel. But yeah, back to you.
So there are 2 elevator rides up to the turrets, and those can't be skipped via a cutscene. They're not a cutscene. So there's these 2 giant elevators that Mute's showing off. And when we do turret skip, all we're doing is we're skipping those elevator rides. And to get back out after the skip, we use fast travel. And that's pretty much the rationale. Because we have fast travel, we can optimize some things. Like we can do airplane skip, we can do certain sections a little faster. But you'll notice that aside from airplane skip, we do the rest of the level in order, aside from those elevators, and aside from the Marauder at the very end. And that's it. Like that's pretty much.
That and Maureen Aeronautics.
Yeah. Aside from airplane skip and aside from the Marauder at the end, we do the level pretty much in order.
Yeah, we just change it up a bit. So we still do everything, but we just skip a few cutscenes. That nice little skip. Here, actually, a lot of the stuff on the top of this encounter is not required. However, you do need to kill enough to let
When
the
the
bottom
spider
room
spawns, you're
spawn
fine.
in.
The snake spawn, sorry.
Oh, it's a snake, not spider. I
You
don't
need to
mind.
kill that Mancubus, these 2 whiplashes, and that soldier that spawns by the bus, and that's the encounter.
Yep.
You want to walk through it again? Just
Can I
like you
look
kill
up
enough
one?
stuff. It doesn't matter what stuff you kill upstairs. You just need to kill enough of them, and then as soon as the snake spawns, you drop. And then after that, you kill the cue ball, the mank, and the cue ball, mank, carcass, soldier, and the 2 snakes.
Note to self: if you don't have external combustion completed, this is the last carcass. So
This is the last place you can get it.
So yeah, but Mute would have it completed right now, but they reset mission because to demonstrate a trick. So we also chainsaw this Pinky because why not? We have 3 fuel, might as well get, and we do need a bit more ammo to finish off the rest of this fight. Oh, also note, if you're trying to bait out a shield from the carcass, don't
Be on
jump.
the ground.
It tracks like where to put its shield based on your momentum of your current and your current location. So if you're jumping upwards, it'll be like, oh, it's upwards. I'll put the shield above them, and then they put it into the ceiling.
This is one of those fights where if you're a beginner, we recommend you kill everything upstairs before you go up downstairs, because if you're like, it can
Also,
easily get chaotic. You'll notice there Mute took his time trying to show off where everything spawns and what you're looking for. And you'll notice that when he tried to actually finish the fight, he couldn't find the correct snake. So we recommend you kill everything upstairs, including the snake that spawns upstairs. It's also just safer, because if you're slow on this fight, you're gonna die. But if you're perfect, then you're not. It's very safe. This fight's
Another
very
thing
easy.
for safety, as Mute was just looking at there, that blue ball. If you are
It's a
low health,
dodecagiga.
just grab it. Just grab it if you're low health before the fight starts. It's always nifty, and it loses like half a second to grab.
It's what us intellectuals like to refer to as a dodecagiga mega.
A soul
I know, big.
And I think that's pretty much it. Right after you pick up the suit token, you can fast travel, pull out energy shield if you're super spooked, because sometimes they can hit you while you're fast traveling. But yeah, right after you pick up that token, you can fast travel.
Oh, also, don't jump on here. You can rail boost here. It's very annoying.
Really? I didn't know there's a rail boost there.
You can rail boost, or you can zip. You can zip on. I've zipped
Well, you can
here
zip on
multiple times.
everything.
Yeah, you can zip on everything.
Zip on
It's very annoying.
everything. Bing. But yeah, oh yeah, I guess we should mention, how do you avoid zips? The short answer is that just optimize your ballista movement and your wall dashes. If you're try to avoid dashing on the, if you really have to dash, like if a segment really forces you to dash, try and dash while in the air. And it really is that simple. If you're zipping, then it doesn't mean that the game is bad. The game is bad, actually. It does mean the game is bad, but it also means that you need to improve on your movement. So that's why that's always our recommendation when it comes to zips. Like if your movement involves a lot of dashing, then you need to cut that out and move up to ballistas and wall dashes. And also, collision is challenging. Is there anything else before we want to wrap up Arc?
No, I think a lot of it we covered. Yeah, if you're
Yeah, it gives
wondering
you
about all the
slightly more
alternate strats
dash.
we mentioned, again, links in the description. Check them out.
Yeah. And Kovac in the chat mentions that dashing in the air does give you slightly more distance. That is true. It is slightly faster to dash in the air rather than on the ground. But it's even though I know that, I still forget to do it.
Yeah. What's it? Dashing in the air has less deceleration when coming out of the dash.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot the IDK.
Oh, you forgot a collectible, Mute. How could you?
What did I?
IDKFA in the
Oh,
ground.
yeah, you
Okay.
reset mission.
Oh
so,
yeah, I reset.
Yeah. So, a few things are just left on.
Yeah. Wait, what? There's the token?
Or
Right before airplane skip, I think.
Oh.
What?
Oh, hilarious.
Oh, I guess I didn't pick it up. Because this is a funny save file. Yes, you would have.
And just for
100
the sake of you seeing what the menu looks like when we're finished, there you go.
And then yeah, you
And-
just fast travel and just dash, double dash.
And yeah, I think that's it for the day, unless y'all have anything else you want to add to the levels.
No, I don't think so. Our complex is hard. We recommend practicing it, but if you really want, we recommend practicing Supergornus first because it's more reasonable. That's pretty much the only reason. It's more reasonable, and it gives you, and it really challenges you in a more constructive way than our complex. Our complex is just kind of mean. Supergornus is mean but fair, if that makes sense.
So yeah, thank you everybody for dropping by, everyone live and everyone watching the VOD. Very quickly, would you guys like to shout yourselves out?
Let's see. What's my YouTube URL? The entire strand of letters. And just kidding. I am Mute6. If you Google Mute6, it's me.
Oh.
And I am DrakePHOSE. You Google DrakePHOSE. That's me. Twitch.tv/DrakePHOSE. Put that in chat. A mod bot just got mad at me.
Ow.
Okay, never mind.
I shall repost your link for you.
YouTube.com/DrakePHOSE. Raitro, what are your links?
Well, you should obviously follow twitch.tv/modern doom speedrunning and also youtube.com modern doom speedrunning. Check those both out. If you want my personal stuff, it is youtube.com/Raitro, and it's also twitch.tv/Raitro with an underscore at the end.
What are you gonna be? What are you running recently?
What am I? You guys didn't say this. Why do I have to say this?
I'm trying to shout yourself out.
If you guys like 100% with DLCs and also base game, I do like every 100% in this game.
He does anthology, which is really cool. He does all three campaign, tag 1 and tag 2, all one after another, and that's where you're gonna get the most up-to-date information on latest patch tech because he's doing it because of his anthology runs. Check out Raitro.
All right. Thank you for stopping by, everybody. We shall catch you all next time whenever we do this, whenever our schedules don't conflict. But for now, we shall give somebody a raid.